I'm fairly certain that the story of my weekend is worth telling, so I'm going to do that. Some of you may have already heard of this happening, some of you haven't. So, if you've heard about my past weekend, just don't watch the video. That's a pretty quick fix. So, Friday night went to Oktoberfest with Sarah. Um, that was glorious right from the get-go. I decided that it was a really good idea to drink my Mickey of whiskey before we went out. Classic Gabby move. And so we went out, got to the venue, I guess you can say, and we learned very quickly that the tickets we had purchased were stolen. So, okay, let's move on from there. We'll just pay cover to get into the venue. Not an option. Not an option. We have to wait an hour between when we arrive and when we're allowed to get into the venue. And when we do, so we've already paid $15 for the tickets. The ticket was supposed to include a dinner and admission. So when we get in, we have to pay $17 admission. Doesn't even include food anymore. But you know what? We're at Oktoberfest. I'm feeling pretty sober in the moment, but I wasn't, but I was feeling sober. So then we go to the bar. We decide we need to do shots. We need beers. We need to just kind of like catch up on the past hour of non-drinking. So Sarah, Joel, and I go and we get our shots, get some beers, get the night started, and very quickly it stops being something that I remember. I remember there was a shooting range that Sarah was obsessed with. I remember that at one point Sarah and I were trying to go into the bathroom, but there was a woman in the bathroom saying we couldn't bring our drinks in there. So that was the women's washroom, naturally. So my thought in that moment was, okay, well, I'll go store my drinks in the men's washroom. So there I go with Sarah and my drinks, just strolling on into the men's washroom. And I put my drinks underneath the sink, because there's a little cupboard like there would be at a house. And then I leave the men's bathroom, and there's a security guy who comes over, and he's just like, I don't really remember the conversation we had, but he basically told me that I shouldn't be in the men's washroom, and I was like, does that mean that I can't store my drinks in there? He's like, no, you can't store your drinks in there. And so I went and I got the drinks, but then I still haven't gone to the bathroom. So I then went to the woman who was in the women's washroom, and I was like, please, can I just put my drinks down? Like, I still want to drink these. So I set them down, and I think that's actually when I stopped remembering the night. Sarah and I had the schnitzel dinner. Sarah had schnitzel on a bun, which, looking back on it, she was just like, why did I have schnitzel on a bun? All I wanted was sausage that night. You know what? Some things in the world you just can't explain, and that was one of the things that we just couldn't explain. Throughout the night, I was talking to a lot of people, I guess. I remember one guy got me to add him on LinkedIn, and I just thought that it was so necessary that I add this guy on LinkedIn. I have no idea why. And another time, there's a picture of me hanging out with this other guy who, like, I have no idea who he is. I don't have any recollection talking to him. I have no idea who this guy is. Like, realistically, if I could get someone to kind of, like, summarize that night for me and tell me who this guy is, perfect situation, realistically, but I know that might not happen. So nearing the end of the night, I had to go outside and throw up as I often do. Classic Gabby. And so I went outside, sat in like somewhere in the parking lot, and just threw up. All of a sudden, the security guard comes over after I've just thrown up. The security guard comes over. He's just like, hey, what are you doing? I'm like, oh, I just need some air. I'm just out here getting some air. He's like, well, we do have a bench. So if you'd like to go sit on the bench, that might be a better spot for you instead of in the middle of the parking lot. I was like, oh, yeah, sure, I'll just go over to this bench. He's like, here, let me help you up. I'm like, no, I've got this. Somehow managed to get up, but it's through this weird turning situation that I do. How I was allowed back in the bar, I don't know. Anyway, as I'm walking over to the bench, I notice there's a party bus that's about to leave. I think it's about to leave, and everybody on the party bus. Well, of course, I stopped to talk to them. They're all telling me to get on the party bus. Let's go home. We're gonna go to another party. And I'm like, yeah, this sounds like a bunch of fun. So I get onto the bus, and then I realize, oh wait, my friends aren't gonna know where I am. So I was like, thanks guys, I'll see you later. And then I go, instead of going and sitting on this bench that was my, that was my destination, I just bypass it, go right back inside. I don't even think I had a stamp at that point on my hand, but somehow it worked out. Somehow they were like, this girl is good to come back in. Who made that decision? I don't know. So that was Oktoberfest. This is a very long video. Gonna make another one for the next day. Hope you've enjoyed the story. Actually, this isn't really the end of it. Let's make that the end of the story. If you're privileged to get more than this, you are a lucky person.